What's up, y'all? Double coverage here. We back at it again with another video. It's your boy Logan and your boy Jaden.
What's up?
In today's video, we're going to be talking about the team power rankings way before free agency, way before the draft even comes up. So I guess you'd call that way too early power rankings.
32, I got the New York Jets, and my reasoning for them is their dysfunction in their offense and defense with quarterback uncertainty, and I got that equal in last place.
I do agree with you. I also have the Jets at 32. Again, they have dysfunctionality at quarterback. They just traded away their star defensive players. All they have left is a running back who they can possibly franchise tag and a receiver who doesn't really want to be there anymore. But
they're literally in 100% rebuild mode. They just gave up.
Exactly, yeah. But they do have a lot of first-round picks coming up, so maybe they can make something out of it. I have the New Orleans Saints at 31st. They could definitely use some rebuilding on the defensive end and the offensive end. They have a young quarterback who seemed to perform good whenever he was given the opportunity. They have Chris Olave on the offense, and they have, honestly, a washed running back, Alvin Kamara, which I don't know what they're going to do with him in this offseason. But I don't see him staying with the Saints, so they're definitely going to have to rebuild on that.
My number 31, I actually have the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like they're still lacking enough talent to really, push them forward in the rankings. So I have them as a bottom three team.
My number 30, I have the Cleveland Browns. I do believe they are on the right track. They have a good defense. They have Myles Garrett holding that down, but they definitely do need some secondary help in the defense. Other than that, their offense, they don't have a star receiver. They have Jerry Jeudy, who is Duty, as almost I called him his last.
Well, let's just put it how he is. He's mid.
He is, yeah. He is definitely mid. But they do have a couple of going into their second year quarterbacks. They got Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. They have talent. They just have to figure out that talent and build around that talent.
My number 30, I also have the Cleveland Browns. I put that their QB instability is continuing to hurt them.
My 29, I have the Tennessee Titans. Yes, they have a quarterback who is possibly the face of their franchise, but they don't really have any receivers. They got Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's a beast. Don't get me wrong on that. I loved watching him play at Alabama. But converting to the NFL, he's definitely a wide receiver 2 that they're putting as a wide receiver 1. And other than that, they don't really have any help.
At my number 29, I actually put the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, they do have key pieces in Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and everyone else they have on the team that he plays any type of decent capacity. But I have them in a full rebuild mode still. The only reason they're not as low as like the New York Jets is because of those star pieces that they've already guaranteed and their high draft pick coming into the 2026 draft.
My 28, I have the Miami Dolphins. They just lost Tyreek, so now they have one receiver, Jalen Waddle, and their quarterback is at question at the moment. They still have 2 on the roster, but God knows what they're going to do with that. They have Devon Achane, great outside running back, inside running back. He's a good running back all around. They don't really have much help on the defense, though.
At number 28 for me, I also have the Miami Dolphins. I put in a regression in roster concerns. As you said, the loss of Tyreek Hill is huge for them. They're struggling at quarterback outside of the 2 players that you have mentioned, wide receiver and running back. They don't have depth, and they don't even have starters to have depth behind them. So I got them at 28 just because of the people that already are on the team. They're still making that impact, but it's just not enough to push them higher.
At my 27, I have the Arizona Cardinals. The reason I have them up at 27 is because they do have 2 receivers. They have Michael Wilson, who performed great when Marvin Harrison was out. He performed amazing as a wide receiver 1, so he is a great wide receiver 2 on top of Marvin Harrison. But the reason I can't put him any higher is their quarterback concern. They don't know what they're going to do with Kyler Murray. They don't know who they're going to start. It's kind of all over the place. And, yes, they are a very high-powered offense. They can get the air game going beautifully, but they don't have anybody to help them on defense.
My number 27, I put the Commanders. In my eyes, they obviously have a great young quarterback in Jaden Daniels, and their defense is pretty solid. But outside of that, I feel like they need a more offensive rebuild.
My 26, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. That is mainly the reason I have them up. The reason I have them up so high is because they do have the number 1 draft pick coming up. So, I can see potential coming from the future. But they also have Brock Bowers. They have Ashton Genty. They have two second-year receivers that they can still build on. They have a bunch of rookies on the defense. And I believe with the 7 picks they have coming up and free agency that they can help the O-line. They can help the defense out. So that's why I have them up so high. They have potential. They just got to find the potential.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely bringing in solid points there. But my number 26, I have the Tennessee Titans. I do believe Cam Ward is the face of their franchise. He's a great, young quarterback coming into his second year. I feel like they're still searching for their identity, though.
I agree with that statement, honestly. If they can find some receiver help for him, they will have a good offense.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I said, Cam Ward is an incredible arm talent. Even watching him in college, you could tell that he was going to be something special in the NFL.
At my 25, I have the New York Giants. I have them rated at 25 because, yes, they have a great offense. From the seams of it, like they have Cam Scatteraboo, they have Jackson Dart, they have Malik Neighbors, they have Wan'Dale Robinson. But the thing is, they could lose Rondell Robinson in this offseason if they don't pay him what he wants. And that's a piece out of their offense missing, so I can't put them up any higher because they do have free agencies that they got to work through. And then they also need help on that defensive side of the ball again.
At my number 25, I got the Ravens. I got them at, my notes say, yeah, I know. Now listen to this. So they are too well coached and have too much talent to be a bottom tier team as how they're playing. They've regressed incredibly since the last couple seasons with the powerhouses. They're staying competitive. They're just not what they used to be. I feel like their time is running out and it's starting to slow down.
Okay, I mean I don't really personally agree with that. They do have some star-studded players, but I get where you're coming from. Their star-studded players are getting old. At my 24, I have the Washington Commanders. Yes, they have a young studded quarterback, but they don't really have a young studded wide receiver, as we should say. They have Scary Terry. He's old. He's getting to that age where he's not going to be able to perform like he used to. They have Deebo Samuel, who is also becoming a free agent. Their starting running back has an ACL tear, and he's going to be coming off of that this season, Austin Eckler. So I don't know if he's going to be able to perform like he did before that ACL tear. Honestly, they do need a lot of help outside of Bobby Wagner on that defense. And Bobby Wagner's also a free agent.
My number 24, I got the Carolina Panthers. I think they're young and developing. I love Bryce Young personally as a quarterback. Obviously, he's had some rough seasons. I don't think they're there offensively or defensively yet to push them past that number 24 spot.
At 23, I have the Colts. I do think the Colts have the talent.
Interesting.
Yes, I do think the Colts have the talent, but them going into the season last year, they didn't have the players they had, and now they do have Sauce Gardner, a bunch of other players they picked up right before the trade deadline. But they spent all that cap space on these players, banking on them to continue doing what they were doing on their old teams. And if that falls off, they have a bunch of holes that they don't have full. Like, they don't have really defensive linemen. They don't have linebackers. But they do have a secondary. I'll give them that. They have a good secondary. They have some good wide receivers, but they're about to possibly lose Alec Pierce to free agency.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, he's, Indiana Jones. He's not bad. They have Jonathan Taylor. That's an okay offense, but they have a bunch of holes that they got to work.
At my number 23, I got the New Orleans Saints. I think they have an aging roster with no clear direction into a younger generation for them. But they still got the talent though, for sure. If they can't build a younger team, then they're gonna fall off.
That's honestly, you shocked me putting them up this high, but I mean, I see where you're coming from. Yeah. They definitely have the talent, but it's aging talent. At my 22, I have the Vikings, and the reason I have them this low, yes, they have a superstar, Justin Jefferson, as a wide receiver, but they don't have a quarterback to really throw him the ball. They got
don't forget their wide receiver 2 talent.
I mean, they're very true. They do have another wide receiver, but again, you might have all these wide receivers, but having a quarterback like you have now is not really going to help you. You also have 2 decent running backs. You have a good offense, but without a quarterback position, I can't put you up higher.
At my number 22, I have the New York Giants. They're rebuilding, obviously, and they've made massive improvements from what they once were. Like you said, with Scatterbo and Dart. I feel like they have the young talent to be really good this year and this season. I'm actually excited to see what they can do once Scat's back and healthy.
At my 21, I have the Carolina Panthers. I am a believer in Bryce Young, just like you said you are. Yes, he's had a couple of rough seasons, but I also think he's just now getting the help he needs to actually perform. He's got a good wide receiver in Ted McMillan, so he has somebody to throw the ball to. If they can try to keep Rico Dowell in the offseason. That's going to help them a lot. But I don't think Rico Dowell's staying, so I have to have him at the high
I
20s.
also I also don't think so. My number 21, I actually have the Minnesota Vikings. You had brought up the wide receiver talent, the running back talent. I feel like the only thing really limiting them right now is their QB situation. But with the draft coming up and the talent that's in the draft, I don't think they're gonna have a problem with finding a decent replacement. He's gonna definitely, whoever it is definitely gonna need a little bit of mentorship before they get to that level. So I got them pretty, I'll say pretty middle tier, at 21, but I definitely see them in a year or two making a good comeback.
At my number 20, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the reason I have them
Wow.
all the way Yes, the reason I have them all the way down at 20 is their wide receiver room is aging. Like, I mean, yes, they have a second year receiver, but then they also have Chris Godwin. He's getting old. They have Mike Evans. He's probably got 1 to 2 years left in him. They're running out of time. If they're gonna make another push for a Super Bowl, they got to do it now. Because yes, they might have Bucky Irvin, who is young, but Bucky Irvin just came off of an injury where he's barely played last season. They have Baker Mayfield. He's getting old. He's been in the league for a while now.
At number 20, I have, which is going to sound crazy, but I have the Atlanta Falcons. Outside of their wide receiver rooms and obviously the amazing Bijan Robinson. God, he's the GOAT. Outside of that, there's just an average team across the board, and they're really lacking in that quarterback position. And if you don't have someone to lead your team from that position, then you can't succeed past the mid stage.
I mean, yes, but they also have Michael Penix. He's, just coming off of an injury, so they still have a chance to. He still has a chance to prove himself. So I'm not going to count them out fully, but again, I get where you're coming from.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily counting them out fully.
At my number 19, I have the Packers. And the Packers are coming off a half-decent season, but the half-decent season makes up for it because they're a half-decent team. They have the players, but they don't have enough of the players. Like, they have Josh Jacobs as a running back, great running back. They have Jordan Love. They have Malik Willis as their two quarterbacks. Like, that's a good quarterback room, but I mean, they're really lacking in the wide receiver department. They have a bunch of mediocre wide receivers. Me calling them mediocre is crazy because they're 10 times better than me, but if we put them against any other NFL receiver, they're mediocre. Like, they're not the best. You don't think of them as soon as you think of, who's my top 10 wide receivers. On top of that, they have a defense that they definitely need to fill some holes on.
My number 19, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Like you had previously said, QE development is key, and with all their main pieces running old, I feel like as long as they can get a younger guy in there, they have amazing players to be able to mentor them to a level where they'd be ready to play within the season.
At my number 18, I have the Chargers. I do think that they are moving in the right direction. They have a bunch of young talent. They have a third-year wide receiver, a second-year running back, Justin Herbert. They have two good linemen who were just injured this year, so I would love to see Joe Alt come back and help that line become better and help Amari and Hansen come back to life on the offense. But I think, again, with these lower teams, it's just becoming a trend. They need help on defense.
For my number 18, I got the Los Angeles Chargers. I put the talents there. Just the execution of play is not where it needs to be for them to be lower rated.
At my number 17, I have the Falcons. So I don't have them as far down as you do, but I do have them still down.
We weren't too off.
They definitely need help in that quarterback position. And I wouldn't hate to see them get a lineman or two in there and a little bit of help in the secondary. But other than that, I mean, they have a little bit of things to work on, and they can probably get into the playoffs, if not far into the playoffs.
For my number 17, I got the Green Bay Packers. I love their young team. The players they have are amazing. They're phenomenal for what they are. Just they're playing at such a level that's inconsistent. Like you had put, it was a midseason, honestly. They have the talent. They're just, like I said, not producing. I got them at number 17.
So now this is where my list started getting hard at. Like, it was hard to place. Sure. It was hard to place these teams because I was like, they could be up here, but I don't know. So at my 16, I have the Bears. I mean, they had a great season. They really did have a good season. But the main key, while I have them at 16, is they definitely need to stop allowing as much yardage as they did. Like, yes, they had a great turnover consistency on defense, but it's hard for you to be a great offense and then also try to keep up because your defense is allowing so many yards.
For my number 16, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My main notes for them are that they're solid and underrated. But like you said, the clock is ticking for majority of their players. Within a year or two, if they can't find those replacements, I got them falling off heavily.
At my 15, I am in the middle of the pack at this point, and I have the middle of the pack team historically, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they just lost their coach, Mike Tomlin. They're coming into it. They didn't really upgrade the coach, honestly. They replaced a mediocre coach with a mediocre coach. And
a mediocre coach is crazy for someone who's had an above 500 win ratio his whole career.
Just because you have above 500, you made it to the Super Bowl once and won a Super Bowl once. Congratulations. So did your coach that you just hired now. He made it to the Super Bowl way back when, and other than that, he hasn't done shit.
And there's a lot of current coaches that have never made it. You know, you just like saying that counting Mike Tomlin as a mediocre coach is insane. He is a Hall of Fame level coach. That is ridiculous.
Look, if Bill Belichick ain't making it into the Hall of Fame, I'm sorry, but Mike Tomlin ain't making it in the Hall of Fame. I have the Steelers at 15 because, again, they've been a mediocre team. They've been middle of the pack team. Yes, they've rubbed it into the playoffs every now and then, but they can't make it past round one for the reason they don't have enough talent to make it past round one. They're trying to build it. Y'all traded away George Pickens after y'all were like, we need a wide receiver too. So y'all traded for DK Metcalf and then was like, fuck it. We're going to trade George Pickens right after we get DK Metcalf. If y'all would have kept DK and George Pickens, y'all would be a top 5 team. 100%. But y'all ruined your offense. Y'all gave yourself right back only one target on the offensive end. If they just take away that one target, y'all don't really have anybody else.
Yeah, so at number 15, I also have my Steelers, you know. I think they're a heavily defensive-driven playoff team. But the problems aren't so much of on the team as they are the health around the Steelers, you know. Like they're from what I've heard from, you know, player sources, a main problem for them is the facility and the staff treatment, and that's really bringing down the team morale. And I think it's starting to bother to the players to where they want such an absurd amount of money, you know, just to stay and play for a team that they're not really rocking with. And I do hope they get that fixed with this new coach. I do hope he takes over and you know, gets in charge. I know that's not all on him. You know, the GM needs to make those decisions also. But we definitely need a new quarterback. We definitely need a better wide receiver too. But I feel like we got a good young quarterback coming in. I think he just needs a little bit more mentorship.
At my 14, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had a great season. Trevor Lawrence had his best season of all time since he's been in the league. They have a young wide receiver in Travis Hunter, also their DB, but mainly a wide receiver at this point in the NFL. And they also have another star wide receiver who kind of fell off this season, but I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. And if they just get a little bit more help in that defense and maybe a big-name running back on that team, they're definitely going to be a little bit higher on this list.
At number 14, I got the Dallas Cowboys. I put them as regular season strong,
14?
But postseason questionable. Yes, they have incredible talent, you know, in both their wide receiver 1 and 2 spots. And you got Dak Prescott, you know, an amazing quarterback. But outside of that, they always fall apart in the postseason. So I can't put them higher than
At 13, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm currently in my mind right now, I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagles fall apart slowly but surely. And honestly, I don't think A.J. Brown is going to stay with them for much longer based on the season he had this year and the stuff he was putting out this year. So in my mind, I don't see the Eagles really doing as good as they have been the past few years if they lose that piece of A.J. Brown.
At number 13, I got the Chicago Bears. They have a big leap expected, you know, with Caleb Williams. Love him as a quarterback, love him as a player. I feel like they're missing just small pieces, you know, here and there. But with enough wiggle room and cap space and in this draft, I feel like they're going to fill those pieces and they're going to jump higher than 13. But for right now, for this current moment in the world, I got them at number 13.
My number 12, I have the Houston Texans. I believe they have one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the league. But their quarterback situation is questionable at this point because of the fall off that he had this season. But I do truly believe that he's going to be able to probably bounce back from that. He has the receivers. He has a decent running back room. He has the weapons that he can use to make a good season, but I can't put him above my other teams.
At number 12, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. They're obviously talented. Their defense is pretty damn good. They're just with the last season and the way it's trending, they're just too inconsistent to go higher than 12.
At my 11, I have the Broncos. I truly do see a bounce back season from Bo Nix when he comes back. And if that defense can stay as hot as that defense stayed this year, they will probably end up higher on this list than what I have them at right now. But based off
Wow,
the
I'm not
performance,
gonna lie, that's fucking crazy.
based off the performance I saw them play against the fucking New England Patriots, like,
Yeah.
no offense to the Patriots, they're a good team, but barely being able to put up numbers against the team that barely put up numbers against you when you've been saying all this hot shit about you guys all season, and then you get to a game where you need to back that statement up. Yes, you were playing with a backup quarterback, but you were hyping it up like, oh, we don't care that we have a backup quarterback. We still have all this talent around us that we're going to be able to perform no matter what.
My number 11, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're consistent, efficient, and like you did bring up, this is Trevor Lawrence's best season of his whole career. I think they played amazing, and I believe that they're going to continue to steadily go up every season as they start to develop and bring in more talent.
My 10, I have the Chiefs. It's hard to put the Chiefs out of a top 10 team at the moment, especially when they have one of the when they have one of the best quarterbacks in Patrick Mahomes. And I hate to say that as a Raiders fan, like it's hatred coming out when I say that. But he definitely is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but I can't put them up any higher. They definitely do need help on the defensive side. I mean, they have good receivers, but they need to develop Xavier Worthy a lot more than what they have, and that defense will be a lot better. And if Rashid Rice can get his act together, then you have a good wide receiver core.
For number 10, I also have the Chiefs, and I basically have the same notes. I said Mahomes alone keeps them in contention for top 10 at least. Like you said, they're not using, Worthy to his full potential, and Rashid Rice, he can't get suspended again. He is a key factor in that offense. And if he can't, get with the program, then they're going to fall out.
I do agree with that. Rashid Rice is definitely a big name in their team. And you could see that when he came back, how efficient their offense became.
Oh, yeah.
And how much he was really used when he came back. At my number 9, I have the 49ers. And the reason I have the 49ers down at 9 is they can't stay healthy. Like, they have a great team. They have players all around, but the problem is they just, year after year, it's just they get hit with injuries on top of injuries. And that's nothing they can do about it. It's hard to put them up any higher when you can just foresee that somebody important is going to get injured.
My number 9, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. I love Joe. I think their health is going to determine how high they go. They got a solid offense. They got a solid defense. You have an elite quarterback. So I don't see why they are out of the top 10 at all. So I think they got a steady position at number 9.
Number 8, I have the Detroit Lions. I have them at 8 because they have a bunch of young talent again. They have one of the best receivers in the league on top of a good wide receiver 2 in Jameson Williams. They do need to use Jameson Williams a lot more other than just deep ball. Let me throw it to you. They do have a good running back duo, and I think the way they use them is great. And they could definitely use just a little bit more help on their secondary. If they get a little bit more help on their secondary, they could go deep in the playoffs.
For my number 8, I got the Houston Texans. They got a young core. They're, like you said, they're amazing. They're trending upwards fast. I love the way they're playing, and I feel like they're going to do really well. I actually have them going pretty high into the playoffs for this upcoming season.
At my number 7, I have the New England Patriots. They had a great season. You have... you have Drake May coming off of one of the best sophomore seasons I've ever seen. Honestly, name me a receiver they have besides Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, the silence you have is crazy. Because you got Matt Collins, but that's not a big name. Stephon Diggs is just steadily declining in stats.
Yeah,
and
he's definitely getting old.
He is, and they don't have a crazy running back room. Yes, they have a good rookie there. Maybe they can make him produce more. But other than Christian Gonzalez, name me somebody else on their defense. You can't. But Christian Gonzalez is a great player, like a top 10 defensive player, and I can't take them out of the top 7 because of that. They have great players. They just need a little bit more help, especially on that defense and wide receiver core.
For my number 7, I got the Detroit Lions. I love their head coach. I love the way he plays. They have an explosive offense with a defense that's steadily improving. With time, they're going to be a lot better. But I got them at number 7 just for their coach and their offense, honestly.
At number 6, I have the Dallas Cowboys. I think they have a really high-performing offense. They really do. They have no holes that I can really visually see in their offense, but their defense definitely needs help, and they also need to restructure a lot of contracts in order to fill that help on the defensive
Yeah.
part. But if they manage to do that and they manage to pick up some big names on the defense, they're going to do good. They have the offense to keep up with points, even if they fill in a little bit of holes on that defense and they still allow points. They have that offense to keep up with almost anybody.
My number 6, I got the San Francisco 49ers. I think they're well coached and still physical and still a contender despite their roster turnover.
I don't see them making it far if they lose those big names like they did this year or the year before that or the year before that. Like they need to get over that injury hump.
Yeah,
But
I mean, definitely. It's definitely a problem.
my number 5, I have the Ravens. I do truly believe in the Ravens defense when they're 100% healthy, and also their offense when their offense is 100% healthy. You have Lamar Jackson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He can scramble, he can throw, and he proved that he could throw this year with the little bit of games he played. And on top of that, they have Derrick Henry, who is 32 and still performing like that man's 26.
My main problem is when was the last time you've seen them 100% healthy?
That is very true. But
The way it's trending is that they're not going to be 100% healthy. You can't equate for health based on in your predictions here. In my eyes, like that's why I always put it as like if they can stay healthy. Like it,
I could say that
there's
about
no
your
guarantee.
49ers. You just said the same thing about them.
That's also true. That's also true, but I didn't really say injury. I said roster turnover by the big names they are losing just to age and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't say I'm wrong when you can say the Ravens have a good
I'm
defense
not
if
saying
everybody stays healthy.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not. I'm just saying that in my head, the ranking isn't. It doesn't really make sense to me because of the pattern of inconsistency in health. Because it seems to be that they're missing a key piece every single season. You
The
know,
key piece they're missing is wide receiver, man. If they can go out in this draft or in the free agency and pick up a big name wide receiver, I think they're good.
we'll see. I mean, I hope they do good. Lamar Jackson's elite. He's great on his feet, bars. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable rating him that highly currently. My number 5, I got the Bills.
The
Josh
Bills
Allen
at
keeps them
5?
in a league. I know. Well, you're gonna see my 1 through 4 after. The main person keeping them in contention is Josh Allen. He's a great quarterback. In my eyes, he is the definition of a stay in the house, a pocket presence. Now he can use his feet for sure, but I mean, how often do you get a talent like Josh Allen where he's
You
throwing
don't.
those type of bombs outside of Lamar Jackson, of course, but can still move on his feet when needed? To me, I won't say he's as good, but I see shades alike of Tom Brady.
At my number 4, I have Joe Burr and his Bengals. And I
Yeah,
have Joe Burr and the Bengals so high because they have a very high-powered offense. Yes,
yeah,
they have a
they do.
lackluster, I guess you could say, defense. If they can manage to help that secondary pick up a linebacker or two in the free agency or in the draft, I can picture them making it to the Super Bowl. Like, honestly, like that offense is high caliber enough if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, if Jamar Chase can continue being consistent, and then you got T. Higgins on the back. Like that's a great 1-2-3 duo on offense. So that's why I have them at 4. That offense is just a big bunch of big names that I can't get past.
At my number 4, I got the Denver Broncos. Their defense is just such a key part of that name. Honestly, they did amazing. I loved watching them play. I loved watching them lock up. The way that they were able to really keep that points on them so low is generational. This doesn't happen very often, especially with a new age NFL, mostly focusing on offense. It's good to see a team play with such defensive grit. But outside of that, I mean, they got a pretty balanced roster. So yeah, I got them at number 4, mostly because they got a good offense, but they got a top elite defense, and I hope they can continue that into next season. And with the NFL draft, I think they'll fill in the offensive pieces that they're missing.
At my number 3, I have the Seattle Seahawks, and
Valid.
I have them at 3 because they just lost a bunch of their coaches, not just their offensive coordinator, but they also lost their quarterback coach, and I believe one of their defensive coaches. I can't remember exactly which one. But they can also be losing a key piece in their offense in K9. Like, he could walk this
Yeah.
offseason, and it doesn't look like Seattle is going to be willing to pay them the money he's going to want to be paid.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a big blow to their offense. My number three is also the Seahawks. I love them. They got an elite defense and the championship momentum. But if they lose those, like they've already lost the coaches, but if they lose K9, they're going to lose a big piece of that firepower. So I have them at number three also.
Your number two is absolutely absurd, and I just know exactly who you're about to say at number two. I have the Buffalo Bills at my number two. And again,
All right.
like you mentioned, you got Josh Allen. That is just a big name to even have in the talk. And then you also have James Cook, who led the league in rush yards. Yes, he couldn't convert it into touchdowns, but that's what you have Josh Allen for in the red zone. And if you give him a wide receiver one, a hot wide receiver one to throw the ball to, that offense is unstoppable. And then he's got a very good defense behind him, very good on the running side of the ball, but they need a little bit of help in the secondary. Other than that, I don't really see any holes besides their secondary and their wide receiver slot. But with big names like Josh Allen and James Cook.
My number two is the New England Patriots. They're an ascending powerhouse with strong QB play, and their defense is again one of the more elite ones. And you know how much I love the defense. You already knew this was coming, so Drake May. I feel great things for him in the future. He's really gonna be the face of the Patriots for a while.
Give me a wide receiver too. Who's their secondary wide receiver right now? Go.
Nah, fuck, I don't know, but right now, I'm telling you, right now, they are a powerhouse. Mostly because of their defense, but tell me it doesn't get better than a young Drake May, especially with the season he had last season.
He had a hell of a season. I'll give him that. He had a great season, but picturing you might lose Stephon Diggs to not just age, but also his court problems that he's going through outside of the NFL. You have Kayshon Boutte as a wide receiver too. You got Mac Hollins as a secondary wide receiver. That's his name.
Is it really? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I don't mind. Now, I don't think he's wide receiver 2 talent per se, but Mac Hollins is a wide receiver 3. I think that's a good wide receiver 3 slot.
But imagine
they don't really have a. He's gonna have to pick up that slack. That's my only concern though.
He's gonna be wide receiver 1. That's who the fuck are those guys' names? Whenever you see them getting on the field, you're like, what is this offense?
You know who Mac Hollins is.
Yes,
Mac Hollins did not do bad.
No, but he came off of an injury and he played good in the Super Bowl. I'll give him that. But he came off of an injury and he just bounced back into it. If he continues to produce in the
just a little bit of time to recover a little bit longer, and you're gonna see the production. That's really gonna turn him from that talent that we have him listed as to a potential wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, pending Stephon Diggs.
I just don't think that offense is as high powered as everybody's pushing it out to be. Just mainly because they have Drake May as a hot quarterback, and yes, he had a hell of a year as a quarterback, but he can't keep that up for the rest of his career. There's no way he can.
The best part about that is we will see next year.
Our number ones, because it comes down to this, we both have one team left, and it seems like me and your number one is the LA Rams.
Yep.
And I mean that's obvious. If you watch football, that's obvious that's probably going to be obviously top 3 of anybody's power rankings because of their offense.
I got them number 1. Their veteran leadership playoff experience is deadly. If you pay attention, you read the stats, I don't see why. Honestly, they could easily win the Super Bowl next year.
Most definitely, yeah. I told you I had them as one of my Super Bowl favorites. My 2 Super Bowl favorites are the Bengals and the LA Rams.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Outside of the controversy that I wanted to, the chaos I wanted to create, my top 2 right now are the Rams and the Patriots.
I don't see the Patriots, man. I can't. I just can't.
It's all
I can't get past.
That's what
mid-tier.
That's what the listeners are for, man. That's what the listeners are for. They'll back me. They'll back me.
They'll back you.
You also think the Raiders are a top 26 team. So I don't really want to fucking hear
it. Well, when you got talent like the Raiders do, you can't not hate me for putting them not below 26.
Hey man, I can hate whoever I want. All right, especially calling fucking Mike Tomlin a mid-tier head coach. Like, what the fuck?
He's a mid-tier.
Hell nah. All right though, that's all good.
All right, well that's me and Jaden's top 32 power rankings before free agency and the draft. after the draft and the free agency, we're going to come back and we're going to put it at what we had him previously versus what we have him at now. And we're just going to debate on who was right, who was wrong. But
Yep.
I hope you guys enjoyed.
That's what you got to do, man.
I hope you guys enjoyed, man. But that's all I got.
Deuces.